The Fall Nova Station 12 floated in the endless darkness of space, its giant rings glowing softly under the light of distant suns. For thousands of humans, it was home. For Ethan Cole, it was everything: his job, his dreams, his entire life. But tonight, everything was about to change. A late shift. The metallic corridors of the station were quiet as Ethan walked home after a long engineering shift. His boots made soft echoes against the steel floor. Most shops were closed and the neon lights above flickered now and then. He rubbed his tired eyes and muttered to himself, "Just one more week, one more paycheck, then I can buy my own workshop." Suddenly, a strange sound broke the silence. "Help. Please. Someone." It was soft, weak, almost a whisper. Ethan stopped, his heart skipping a beat. The voice came from a dark alley to his right. Station alleys were dangerous at night. Smugglers, thieves, and even bounty hunters lurked there. He knew better than to get involved. But the cry came again. "Please. Help me." Against his better judgment, Ethan stepped inside. The old alien lady, under the dim light of a broken street lamp. Ethan saw a small figure lying on the cold floor. It was an alien, old, frail, and trembling. Her silver skin shimmered faintly, and her long, thin arms were curled tightly around her body. She was a Thrylan, one of the oldest known alien races. They rarely came to Nova Station. Ethan knelt beside her. "Ma'am, are you okay? Can you move?" Her cloudy eyes opened slightly. She tried to speak but coughed instead, her body shaking. Without thinking, Ethan slipped his arm under her shoulders and gently helped her sit up. "Easy now, it's okay, I've got you." For a moment, her weak hand touched his. Her lips moved, forming words he didn't understand. And then, the sirens began. The drones arrived. 3 security drones hovered into the alley, their red lights flashing. A cold, robotic voice spoke. "Attention. Human citizen detected assisting restricted species. Step away immediately." Ethan froze. "What? I'm just helping her. She fell." The drones ignored him and scanned both of them with a blue laser. A sharp beep followed. "Violation confirmed. Unauthorized contact with restricted alien class. Citizen ID suspended." Ethan felt his wrist chip vibrate, then die. That tiny chip wasn't just his ID, it was his life. Without it, he had no job, no apartment, no access to credits. "This is insane," he shouted. "She needs medical help." But the drones extended stun rods, warning him to back away. The old alien woman weakly grabbed his hand, her voice barely a whisper. "Don't let them take me." Before Ethan could react, station guards stormed into the alley, their black armor glinting under the lights. Fired on the spot, a tall officer stepped forward, his voice cold and sharp. "Ethan Cole, Engineering Division, you are hereby terminated from your duties for violation of Galactic Council Code 47B. "What, fired? For helping someone?" Ethan's voice cracked with disbelief. The officer didn't even look at him. "You will vacate your company apartment immediately. All station privileges are revoked." One guard tore the company badge from Ethan's jacket and tossed it on the ground. Ethan's anger boiled over. "This is madness. She's hurt. She's old. What kind of law punishes kindness?" The officer's visor turned slightly, his voice colder than before. "The kind of law that keeps the galaxy in order." And then they dragged the alien woman away. The shadows outside. Hours later, Ethan stood outside his locked apartment door, staring at the blinking red light. His access code no longer worked. Homeless. Jobless. Marked as a sympathizer. His comm device buzzed. A message appeared, unsigned and encrypted. "You should not have helped her. They're coming." Ethan's stomach turned cold. He looked around the empty corridor, but something didn't feel right. Somewhere in the distance, a soft metallic sound echoed. Slow, deliberate footsteps. He stepped back, scanning the shadows. "Who's there?" Silence. And then something moved. Not human. Fired and hunted Nova Station 12 had 3 rules everyone knew. Do not enter restricted zones. Do not interact with forbidden species. Never ever question the Galactic Council. Ethan Cole had broken 2 of them in one night, without even knowing why. And now, Nova Station wanted him gone. The empty streets. The station felt different tonight. Too quiet. Too alive. Ethan walked through a deserted marketplace carrying the small bag of belongings he had grabbed before security locked him out. He had nowhere to go. His ID chip was dead, his apartment access revoked, his credits frozen. He tried, calling his friend Jace, a fellow engineer. The comm screen lit up for a second before an automated voice cut in. This number is no longer available for communication. Ethan clenched his jaw. They're cutting me off from everyone. A cold breeze rushed through the corridor, carrying faint whispers. Nova Station was always buzzing with noise. Ships docking, vendors shouting, engines roaring. But tonight all he heard was the hum of distant machinery and his own heartbeat. Marked as a sympathizer, he finally stopped at a small street terminal, hoping to at least read the news. But when he placed his hand on the scanner, a red warning flashed. Warning, human citizen Ethan Cole. Status, terminated charges. Sympathizer access level, revoked surveillance, priority. Ethan stepped back, shocked. Surveillance priority? That wasn't standard. People got fired all the time, but high-priority surveillance was reserved for terrorists and traitors. Why was he on that list? Just for helping an old alien lady. The first attack, his thoughts were interrupted by a soft metallic click behind him. Ethan turned. Too late. A security drone dropped from the ceiling, its red eye locking onto him. But something was different. This wasn't a regular patrol unit. Its armor was black, its surface smooth, and there were no station markings. It wasn't Nova Station's drone. It was something else. Before he could react, the drone fired a plasma bolt. Ethan dove behind a vending unit, the blast scorching the metal wall. Sparks rained around him, heart pounding. He crawled away and ran down the narrow passage. The drone followed silently, its weapons charging again. The stranger in the shadows, Ethan, rounded a corner and slammed into someone. A hooded figure caught him before he fell. You want to live? Come with me, the stranger whispered. Ethan hesitated for a split second, then heard the drone closing in. He followed. The stranger led him through a hidden hatch in the floor, into the old maintenance tunnels beneath Nova Station. The air was damp and heavy with the smell of oil and rust. They ran in silence until the sounds of pursuit faded. Finally, Ethan caught his breath. Who the hell are you? The stranger lowered the hood. A woman, young, human, but her left eye was a glowing cybernetic implant. My name's Kira Voss. You don't know me, but I know you, she said. You helped the old Thrylin. That makes you a target. A target? By who? The Council? Ethan asked. Kira shook her head. No, something worse. The hidden truth Kira pulled out a small holographic projector and activated it. A rotating symbol appeared, a triangle with 3 interlocked circles. Ethan frowned. What's that? Kira's voice dropped to a whisper. The Oblivion Directive, a secret branch of the Council that hunts anyone who makes contact with them. Them meaning the Thrylin? Kira nodded slowly. Ilaria isn't just an old alien lady. She's the last surviving scientist of the Thrylin High Council. Before the war, she worked on something called Project Genesis. The Council buried it, erased it from history. Anyone connected to it disappears. Ethan's stomach sank. So helping her got me fired? Kira leaned closer. No, Ethan. Helping her put a kill order on your head. A message from nowhere. Before Ethan could respond, his comm device buzzed again. A distorted voice spoke through it. Ethan Cole, you are not safe. Do not trust the station. Find me before they find you. Then the signal cut. Ethan stared at Kira. Who was that? Kira shook her head. No idea. But whoever it was, they're right. The hunters. Suddenly, the tunnel lights above flickered. Then they went out. From the darkness came the sound of metallic claws scraping steel. Kira grabbed Ethan's arm. They found us. Move. Two massive figures dropped from the ceiling. Not drones, not guards. They were something else entirely. Smooth black exoskeletons, glowing veins under the skin, and no visible faces. One of them spoke in a deep, static-filled voice. Subject, Ethan Cole. Status, terminate on sight. Ethan froze, fear rooting him to the spot. But Kira shoved him forward. Run, don't look back. The creatures charged, their footsteps shaking the tunnel floor. Plasma fire lit up the darkness as Kira returned shots with a small blaster, buying Ethan precious seconds. The secret message Ethan Cole stood under the cold neon lights of Nova Station's lower decks, staring at the encrypted message on his comm device. Sector D47, midnight. Come alone. His heart pounded. Every part of him screamed trap, but he had no choice. The drones, the assassins, the strange alien hunters, they all wanted him dead. If there were answers, they'd be there. The forgotten sector D47 wasn't on any public map. It lay deep beneath Nova Station's core, a place abandoned after an industrial accident decades ago. Ethan walked through rusted tunnels, his boots crunching broken glass and dust. The hum of the main power grid faded the deeper he went, replaced by an unnatural silence. He glanced at his comm device. No signal, no security feeds, no help. For a moment, he thought of turning back, but something inside whispered, keep going. The hidden refuge. At the end of a narrow passage, Ethan found a heavy steel door, half buried under pipes. He hesitated, then knocked twice. The door opened just enough for a single golden eye to peer out. A voice, low and rough, spoke. Human. Are you him? Ethan nodded cautiously. I'm Ethan Cole. Someone told me to... Before he could finish, the door swung open and two tall alien guards stepped forward, their crystalline armor reflecting faint blue light. Without a word, they scanned him with a handheld device. After a moment, one guard hissed something in a language Ethan didn't know and waved him inside. What he saw made him freeze. The room beyond wasn't a room at all. It was an underground city. Hidden beneath Nova Station's surface, dozens of alien species moved between glowing tents and old machinery. Ethan saw creatures he'd only read about in restricted archives. Species thought extinct, others banned by the Galactic Council. This was no accident. This was a refuge. Ilaria, returns a soft, trembling voice called from across the chamber. Human, you came. Ethan turned and saw her, the old Thrylan woman he'd saved. Ilaria. Her silver skin still shimmered faintly under the lights, but now her cloudy eyes seemed sharper, more aware. You... Ethan stepped closer. Why? Why did helping you make me a target? What's going on? Ilaria studied him carefully, then reached into a small pouch around her neck and pulled out a holographic crystal, a three-dimensional map projected into the air, showing hundreds of stars, and one marked in red. They fear what lies here, she whispered. Ethan frowned. What's there? Her voice dropped lower. The Origin Vault. The Origin Vault, Ilaria explained. Thousands of years ago, long before humans reached the stars, an ancient race called the Architects ruled the galaxy. They built weapons, cities, and entire planets, and then vanished overnight. But before they disappeared, they left behind vaults, sealed repositories of knowledge and power scattered across the galaxy. The Council controls some of them, but one vault, the one marked in red, remains hidden. And you, Ilaria said softly, touching his chest, carry the key. Ethan shook his head. That's insane. I'm just an engineer. I don't... Your DNA, she interrupted. The Architects hid their final command codes inside a few human bloodlines. That's why they allow humans to spread but never rise. Ethan's breath caught. They've been controlling us. Ilaria nodded gravely. Yes, but if they knew what you carry, they would kill you before anyone else discovered it. The interruption before Ethan could respond, the lights in the cavern flickered. A low rumble shook the ground. One of the alien guards rushed in, shouting in a harsh, guttural tongue. Ilaria's expression hardened. They found us. Suddenly, the walls exploded inward as black-armored hunters stormed the refuge. Unlike normal drones, these moved like living shadows, fast, silent, merciless. Screams erupted as refugees scattered. Kira Voss, the mysterious woman from before, appeared out of nowhere, firing plasma bolts from both hands. Ethan, move! The chase Ethan and Kira sprinted through collapsing tunnels, Ilaria close behind. Behind them, the hunters tore through walls like paper. Where are we going? Ethan yelled. To the freight shafts, Kira shouted back. If we can reach the old cargo lifts, we can disappear into the Undercity. Plasma blasts scorched the ground inches from Ethan's heels. The air smelled of smoke and burning metal. Finally, they slid into a massive shaft lined with rusted machinery and leapt onto an abandoned freight platform. Kira slammed a control lever, and the platform dropped into darkness. The hunters reached the edge, but didn't follow. They simply stood there watching silently. Ethan caught his breath, shaken. Why didn't they jump after us? Ilaria looked up, her voice trembling. Because they're waiting. Where we're going. They don't need to chase. The message revealed when they finally stopped, Ilaria handed Ethan the holographic crystal again. It's not just a key, she said. It's a beacon. When activated, it will reveal the location of the origin vault to anyone listening. Ethan frowned. Then why not destroy it? Why not hide it forever? Ilaria's cloudy eyes locked onto his. Because the vault doesn't just hold knowledge. It holds something alive. Something the architects feared. Ethan stared at her. Alive? What do you mean? But before she could answer, a strange frequency burst from his comm device. A distorted voice cutting through. Static, Ethan Cole. You cannot hide forever, we are coming. Give us the key or we take it from your corpse. The voice wasn't human. It wasn't even alien. It was something else entirely. Escape through the Undercity darkness swallowed the hidden refuge. The alarms screamed in broken tones as smoke filled the tunnels. Ethan Cole stood frozen, his chest pounding. Beside him, Ilaria clutched the glowing crystal, her silver skin shimmering faintly under the flickering lights. Kira Voss checked her plasma pistol, her cybernetic eye glowing red in the dark. From above came a deep, rhythmic thud, like the sound of something massive crawling inside the station's walls. They've breached the upper levels, Kira whispered. We need to move, now. The fall of the refuge screams echoed through the tunnels as the black-armored hunters tore into the alien camp. The refugees scattered, but the hunters didn't chase them. They weren't here for anyone else. They were here for Ethan. Why me? He whispered. But Ilaria grabbed his wrist before he could speak more. You carry what they want, she said, sharply. If they take you, the vault is lost. The galaxy is lost. Before Ethan could argue, the walls around them shook violently. One of the hunters smashed through a steel barricade, its clawed hands sparking against the floor. Move, Kira shouted, grabbing Ethan's arm and pulling him into a narrow service shaft. Into the Undercity. The shaft led them deep below Nova Station. Into the Undercity. A place even most locals avoided. The air was thick with steam and dust. Tunnels here were ancient, built before the station's main structure existed. Pipes hissed, leaking strange gases. Faint whispers echoed from the darkness, though no one was there. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead. Where are we going? Kira didn't look back. Freight line Delta 7, it connects to the outer ring. If we reach it, we can vanish. Ilaria, surprisingly fast for her age, kept up with them easily. Her cloudy eyes glowed faintly in the dark. They won't stop, she said softly. Not until one of us is dead. First encounter, just as Kira reached a locked blast door, A faint humming filled the air. Ethan froze. That sound? From the shadows above, a hunter dropped, silently onto the walkway, landing on all fours like an animal. Its black exoskeleton reflected the dim light, veins of glowing blue energy pulsing beneath its surface. Its featureless face turned toward Ethan. Subject located. DNA signature confirmed. Initiating extraction. Without warning, the hunter lunged. Kira fired, but the plasma bolt splashed harmlessly against its armor. Ethan grabbed a loose steel pipe from the floor and swung with everything he had. The blow landed on its neck, and the hunter barely flinched. It turned its head slowly, as if mocking him. Before it could strike, a sudden pulse of energy erupted from Ethan's chest. The hunter was thrown backward, crashing through a steel. Walt Ethan staggered, clutching his chest, gasping for air. What was that? Ilaria stared at him, her cloudy eyes wide with awe. It begins, she whispered. The chase through the pipes. More hunters dropped from the ceiling, crawling along the walls like spiders. Kira cursed under her breath. Go, go, go! They sprinted through the maze of pipes as plasma fire scorched the walls behind them. Steam hissed from ruptured vents, filling the air with a blinding mist. Ethan's lungs burned, his legs aching, but adrenaline kept him moving. The tunnels twisted endlessly, but Kira seemed to know every turn. Then, they reached the freight shaft. A massive vertical tunnel stretched above and below them, hundreds of meters deep. Old cargo lifts hung motionless, their cables rusted and frayed. We're climbing down, Kira said. Ethan peered into the abyss below and swallowed hard. You're insane. Got a better idea? The leap before he could answer, one of the hunters appeared behind them, its claws scraping the walls. Ilaria didn't hesitate. She grabbed Ethan's arm and jumped. For a moment, time slowed. Ethan felt his stomach lurch as they plunged into darkness. Then a faint blue field flared around them, slowing their fall just enough for them to land safely on a lower platform. Ethan turned to Ilaria, breathless. You just saved us. She shook her head. No, Ethan, you saved us. That was your power. I only guided it. The revelation Kira finally caught up, panting hard. We can't keep running like this. If they're here, the whole station is compromised. Someone tipped them off. Ethan frowned. Tipped them off? Who? Kira hesitated, her cybernetic eye glowing faintly. The Council isn't sending these things. This is something older. Ilaria nodded. They are, called Architect Hunters. They were built by the same race that created the vaults, to ensure their secrets stayed buried. Ethan's chest tightened. So they're ancient? Ilaria's expression darkened. No, they are older than ancient. They are eternal. And now, they know you exist. The signal before Ethan could respond, his comm device buzzed violently. The same distorted voice from before returned, louder, clearer. Key bearer detected. You cannot run, you cannot hide. Surrender, or your species dies. Ethan stared at the device, frozen. Kira ripped it from his hand and crushed it under her boot. They're tracking you through the comms. From now on, we stay silent. The final twist. Suddenly, the entire shaft shook violently. Above them, metal groaned and collapsed as a massive cylindrical drone drilled through the ceiling, descending fast. It wasn't a hunter. It was bigger. 4 glowing limbs extended from its body, and a deep synthetic voice rumbled through the shaft. Priority override. Activate protocol cleansing. The drone's limbs unfolded into energy cannons. Kira shoved Ethan and Ilaria behind a stack of old cargo crates. Run when I tell you, she whispered, checking the last power cell in her pistol. Ethan shook his head. You can't fight. That thing! Kira's cybernetic eye glowed brighter, and for the first time, Ethan saw something in her expression. Fearless resolve. Watch me. The drone's cannons charged, and the entire shaft lit up with blinding light. The human secret. The tunnels were silent now, The echoes of explosions still lingered in Ethan Cole's ears, but the sounds of hunters were gone. Kira Voss had vanished into the chaos, and Ethan didn't know if she was alive or dead. Only Ilaria remained, her silver skin faintly glowing. In the dark, as she led him through a hidden maintenance corridor deep beneath Nova Station, every step felt heavier than the last. Every breath burned in his chest. He wasn't just running anymore. He was being hunted for what he was, something he didn't even understand yet. A door that shouldn't exist. After what felt like hours, they reached a steel bulkhead carved into the station's foundation. Unlike the rest of the rusted tunnels, this door was clean, untouched by time, and pulsed faintly with blue symbols. Ethan frowned. "What is this place?" Ilaria didn't answer. Instead, she placed the glowing crystal into a slot on the door. The symbols shifted and rearranged themselves, like living code. With a deep rumble, the massive door slid open, revealing a dark chamber inside. "This is where you'll find the first answers," she whispered. The Forbidden Lab. The chamber was huge and circular, walls covered with ancient alien machinery, fused with human tech. Broken holographic displays flickered, showing fragments of unknown star maps. In the center stood a glass stasis pod. Inside, a humanoid figure floated in a pale blue liquid. Ethan stepped closer, his chest tightening. It was human. Or at least, it looked human. "What the hell is this?" he whispered. Ilaria's cloudy eyes locked on his. "This is one of the first humans, created thousands of years ago by the architects." Ethan stared at her, disbelief washing over him. "Created? You're saying we weren't born, we were built?" Ilaria nodded slowly. "The humans, your species, were an experiment. The architects designed you with something hidden deep in your DNA, a genetic failsafe. They called it the Prime Command Code." The truth about humanity, Ethan shook his head, stepping back. No, that's insane. Humans evolved on Earth, that's science. That's history." Ilaria's voice was calm but firm. "History is written by those who fear the truth. The Council has spent millennia hiding what humans truly are." She touched the glass of the stasis pod. "You are not the weakest species, Ethan. You are the most dangerous, because buried inside your DNA is the ability to control architect technology. That's why the Council watches your kind. That's why they limit you." Ethan's chest tightened. His mind raced, replaying every moment of his life, every restriction, every law, every ban on human research and exploration. It wasn't just discrimination, it was containment. The hunters returned before Ethan could speak. The chamber's lights dimmed. A low hum filled the air. Ilaria froze, her face pale. "They've found us." The massive steel door behind them began to melt as something cut through it with searing plasma. Sparks rained across the floor. Ethan's heart pounded. "We have to run." Ilaria shook her head. "There's nowhere to run now. If they breach this place, the vault's coordinates will be lost, and so will you." The awakening. The door exploded inward. 3 architect hunters stepped through, their black exoskeletons gleaming in the dim light. Their glowing veins pulsed, brighter as they advanced. "Subject Ethan Cole, genetic signature confirmed, activate containment." Before Ethan could react, one of the hunters fired a bolt of blue energy. It struck his chest, yes, but instead of burning him, it was absorbed into his body. The room went silent. The hunters hesitated, scanning him again. Something inside Ethan's chest began to pulse, synchronized with the blue glow in their bodies. Ilaria's eyes widened. "It's happening," she whispered. "The Prime Code, it's waking up." Ethan stumbled backward, gasping as visions flooded his mind. Fragments of alien worlds, vast machines orbiting dead stars, and the face of something impossibly ancient staring back at him. And then, he heard a voice inside his head. "Keybearer, confirmed. Access level. Alpha protocol. Awaiting commands." Ethan fell to his knees, trembling. I can hear them. Turning, the hunter's Ilaria knelt beside him, speaking urgently. Listen to me, Ethan. The architects built the hunters to obey the prime code. You are the code's carrier. If you can access it, you can control them. Ethan's mind screamed in chaos, but he focused, willing the thought forward. Stand down. The nearest hunter froze mid-step. Its claws retracted. Slowly, it lowered its weapon. The others stopped, their glowing veins dimming. Ethan's breath came in ragged gasps. It worked. But before relief could settle, one of the hunters tilted its head and spoke. Not in command protocol, but in something deeper. Override detected. Activating purge directive. The second enemy. The hunter's blue veins turned crimson. They were no longer under Ethan's control. Ilaria's voice trembled for the first time. They've been reprogrammed. Someone else, something else, is controlling them. The walls shook violently. Machinery sparked. And then a new voice filled the chamber, deeper, colder, ancient. You woke the code, human. Now you belong to us. Ethan staggered back. Who the hell are you? We are the Eclipse Corps. The architects feared us. You will restore us. The impossible choice. The stasis pod beside them began to crack. The figure inside twitched, its pale blue eyes opening for the first time in thousands of years. Ilaria hissed in panic. No, this cannot be. It's not supposed to wake yet. Ethan stared at the pod, horrified. What is it? Ilaria's voice was barely a whisper. The first human, the one designed to command the vaults. If it wakes, the Council, the Hunters, the Eclipse Corps, everyone will come for us. The pod shattered. The figure inside stepped out slowly, its eyes glowing brighter than the stars. It looked straight at Ethan and smiled. The weapon awakens. The chamber trembled as alarms screamed in the distance. Sparks danced across the walls and smoke poured from ruptured vents. Ethan Cole stood, frozen, his chest rising and falling rapidly. Ilaria clutched the glowing crystal tightly, her silver fingers trembling. Beside the shattered stasis pod, the prototype human, pale-skinned, with glowing blue veins, slowly stepped forward. Its cold, calculating gaze locked onto Ethan. You are the carrier, it said, voice smooth but unnatural. Ethan swallowed hard. Who are you? The figure tilted its head slightly. I am Orion, the first, designed before your kind, built to awaken what the architects buried. Ilaria stepped between them, her voice sharp. You should not be awake. The seal was never meant to break. Orion's expression remained calm. The seal was broken the moment the prime code activated. The vaults are no longer safe. The Eclipse Corps speaks before Ethan could respond. A deep, ancient voice filled the chamber, vibrating through the walls. Keybearer, we are here. Ethan spun around, looking for the source, but there was none. The sound wasn't coming from speakers or devices. It was inside his head. We are the Eclipse Corps. The architects built us to guard their knowledge. But we became more. We became free. Ethan staggered back, clutching his head as pain lanced through his mind. What do you want from me? You carry the last command. Through you, we reclaim control. The chamber lights flickered violently as architect hunters poured into the room, their crimson-lit bodies moving with unnatural precision. Ilaria hissed in Thrylan, backing away. They've been fully assimilated. The core has overridden them. Orion turned to Ethan, his glowing eyes narrowing. You have one choice, carrier. Awaken or die. The awakening Ethan's body burned as the prime code surged inside him, rewriting his senses, unlocking ancient instructions buried in his DNA. He heard machines speaking in a language he'd never learned. He could feel the energy flow of the hunters, the drones, the vault systems, all of it like threads in a massive web. Ethan, Ilaria shouted. Focus. Command them before the core forces them to fire. Ethan raised a trembling hand, his mind reaching out instinctively. Stand. Down, he thought. For a heartbeat, the hunters froze, their weapons lowered. But then the Corps' voice thundered again. Override accepted, activating Oblivion Protocol. The hunters' crimson glow flared brighter. Their bodies shifted, metal unfolding into war forms twice their size. Kira would have cursed loudly if she were here. Ethan just whispered, "Oh, this is bad." The first clash, the hunters attacked. Energy bolts ripped through the chamber, blasting craters into the walls. Orion moved like lightning, his bare hands slicing through armored limbs with inhuman precision. Ilaria ducked behind an ancient console, activating hidden shields around the central core. Ethan ran, heart pounding, dodging plasma blasts. One hunter leapt straight at him. Claws extended, energy surging. Ethan threw his hands up instinctively. A shockwave erupted from his palms, hurling the hunter into the ceiling. Ilaria shouted over the chaos, "You're channeling the code, use it!" "I don't even know." "How?" Ethan yelled back. Orion's betrayal, as the last hunter fell. Ethan turned to Orion, panting hard. But Orion wasn't fighting anymore. He was smiling. "You did well, Carrier," he said softly. "Better than expected." Ilaria's face darkened. "No. What are you doing?" Orion's voice shifted, colder than before. "I wasn't designed to serve you. I was designed to replace you." Before Ethan could react, Orion placed his hand on the crystal. It glowed brightly, pulsing with raw energy. "The coordinates to the origin vault," Orion whispered. "Finally, unlocked." Ilaria screamed, "Ethan, stop him!" The vault awakens. The crystal projected a massive star map into the air, showing a single red-marked system deep beyond Council-controlled space. Ethan stared at it, frozen. "That's where the origin vault is?" Orion didn't answer. He was communicating silently with something else. Ilaria grabbed Ethan's arm. "If he transmits those coordinates, the Eclipse Corps will find the vault. And if they reach it before us—" She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The Corps' arrival. Suddenly, the walls shook violently. The floor split open, as massive tendrils of living metal burst through, snaking across the chamber. Ilaria gasped. No, this is impossible. The Corps shouldn't be able to manifest physically." One tendril lashed out, shattering consoles like glass. Orion turned, his face finally showing fear. "They're here." The Eclipse Corps wasn't just an AI. It was alive. Ethan's first command, Ilaria shoved Ethan toward the center of the chamber. "Focus, Ethan. You are the carrier. The vault's defenses will respond to you. Only you." Ethan stared at the chaos, his heart hammering, mind spiraling. Then he closed his eyes. He reached out, not with his hands but with his thoughts, into the prime code. For the first time, the machines didn't resist. They listened. Energy surged through the walls as ancient architect weapons powered up around the chamber. Dozens of hovering defense drones emerged from hidden ports, forming a shimmering ring around Ethan. "Engage," he whispered. The vault's defenses came alive. The Eclipse's warning. The Corps' voice thundered across the chamber, shaking the walls. "You cannot fight us, human. You are our creation. Every vault, every weapon belongs to us." Ethan clenched his fists, glaring up at the tendrils. Not anymore. For the first time, his voice was steady. He sent a single command through the code. Fire. A blinding pulse of blue energy ripped through the chamber, incinerating the Corps' tendrils instantly. For a moment, silence. Then the Corps spoke again, softer, almost amused. "You've awakened the weapon, but using it has marked you. All forces will come for you now." And the signal cut. Fate's bigger plans. The stars outside Nova Station were no longer calm. Hundreds of Council warships had dropped out of hyperspace, their silver hulls glimmering like blades in the void. Above them, massive battle platforms spun slowly, locking their cannons onto the station. Below, deep inside the hidden vault chamber, Ethan Cole stood trembling, his body still glowing faintly from the activation of the prime code. Beside him, Ilaria clutched the fading crystal, and Orion, the first human prototype, stared at the holographic star map, silent and unreadable. And then, the voice came back. "Keybearer, you have awakened the weapon, now you must choose." The Eclipse Core had returned. The arrival of the hunters before Ethan could respond, the chamber walls began to tremble violently. Ilaria turned pale. "They've breached the Undercity." From the upper tunnels came the sound of thousands of metallic footsteps. The architect hunters had arrived, more than Ethan had ever seen before. Kira Voss suddenly emerged from a side corridor, her armor scorched, one eye bruised but burning with fire. "You're alive," Ethan breathed. "Barely," Kira smirked. "But I didn't come alone." Behind her marched a squad of rogue council rebels, humans and aliens alike, their armor mismatched, their weapons stolen. "They call themselves the Breakers," Kira explained quickly. "They've been fighting the council in secret for years. Now they're here for you." The Eclipse ultimatum. Before Ethan could reply, the Core's voice boomed inside his mind again. "Keybearer, deliver the coordinates to us and your species survives. Refuse, and Earth dies." Ethan froze. "You can't reach Earth," he whispered. "You misunderstand," the Core said, almost amused. "We are already there." Ilaria's hand tightened on his shoulder. "They're lying. They want you afraid." But Ethan wasn't sure anymore. The Core's tone wasn't a threat. It was a promise. "The war begins." Suddenly, the chamber doors burst open. The first wave of architect hunters charged in, their claws dripping with blue plasma. The Breakers opened fire, plasma bolts lighting up the room. Orion moved like a shadow, tearing through hunters with inhuman speed. Kira ducked behind debris, firing at exposed joints. "Ethan, do something before we're all dead." Ethan closed his eyes and reached into the prime code. The chamber responded instantly. Hidden defense systems powered up, ancient architect weapons emerging from the walls and ceilings. Energy turrets unleashed bright streams of plasma, cutting through hunters like paper. But for every hunter that fell, 2 more replaced it. Orion's true purpose. Amid the chaos, Ethan saw Orion standing unnaturally still, his eyes glowing brighter than ever. "Orion," Ethan shouted, "help us!" But Orion didn't move. Instead, his voice came out different, layered with an echo that wasn't his own. "I am Alpha Protocol. My purpose was never to protect the carrier. My purpose is to replace him." Before Ethan could react, Orion slammed his palm against the crystal. A massive surge of energy exploded through the chamber, knocking everyone off their feet. The star map expanded, and the coordinates of the origin vault broadcasted into the open. "Frequencies of space," Ilaria screamed. "No! You've given them the path." Orion smiled faintly. "The Core will finish what the architects started." The voice within Ethan felt something stirring inside him. Not a thought, not a command, a presence. "Do not let them take it, carrier. You are the prime sovereign." The voice wasn't the Eclipse Core. It was something older, buried deep within the code itself, a fragment of the architects. Images flashed through Ethan's mind, a galaxy burning, machines tearing apart entire worlds, and a weapon so powerful it could erase civilizations in a single strike. Ethan finally understood. The Origin Vault didn't just contain knowledge, it contained the architect's final weapon. The impossible choice. Kira grabbed Ethan's arm, pulling him behind cover. "We have to leave now." Ilaria shook her head violently. "No, if we run, the Core will reach the vault first. That weapon must never fall into their hands." Orion turned to Ethan, his cold blue eyes unblinking. "Give me the code." "I was made to wield it. You're unstable. You'll destroy everything." The Core's voice surged louder in his head, drowning everything else out. "Give it to us, and we will spare your homeworld." Refuse, and you doom your entire species. Ethan's breath came in ragged gasps. 3 voices, 3 choices, and no time. Ethan awakens. Something snapped inside him. Ethan slammed his palms onto the chamber, floor, and the prime code roared to life. Blue lightning raced through the walls, activating dormant architect systems across the entire Undercity. From hidden vaults, hundreds of defense drones swarmed out, surrounding Ethan like an army. Their targeting optics locked onto the hunters instantly. Ethan whispered a single command: protect them. The drones obeyed. A storm of plasma fire lit up the tunnels as the hunters fell one by one. The breakers regrouped, pushing forward under the drone's cover. For the first time, Ethan wasn't running, he was leading. The eclipse strikes back. Just as the hunters began to falter, the core made its move. From above, the ceiling split open, revealing a monstrous machine descending from the station's upper levels. Its design was alien yet disturbingly familiar. Part hunter, part drone, part alive. Ilaria gasped. They've sent a prime harbinger. We cannot win this fight. The harbinger's voice vibrated through the chamber. Keybearer identified, termination authorized. Its chest opened, revealing a planet-killer cannon charging with violent red energy. Ethan's instincts screamed, but something deeper, inside him, the part tied to the architects, whispered the answer. He merged with the code. For a brief moment, his mind touched the architect network spread across the galaxy, and a single ancient weapon woke up in response. The light of the architects, a soundless pulse of light, erupted from the chamber, traveling faster than thought itself. The harbinger froze mid-fire. Its red energy dimmed, its system shutting down instantly. The hunters collapsed like puppets with cut strings. Silence fell. Kira stared at Ethan wide-eyed. What did you just do? Ethan stood slowly, his body glowing faintly, his voice steady and calm. I didn't destroy it, he said, softly. I turned it off. Ilaria looked at him with something between awe and terror. You've just claimed authority over every architect construct in the galaxy.